Only 58 members joined till now. 6 members are absent. Can you see the screen? Projections of solids. And while projections of solids, you have to remember the terminology, that is type of solid and its number of edges, types of faces, and its terminology. So the first category of solids are polyhedrons, means a solid object formed by number of plane surfaces. So this surface may be triangle, rectangle, square. Cube is formed by 6 squares. Prism is formed by top base, bottom base, and 4 rectangles. Pyramid is formed by base and number of triangular surfaces. So a closed object formed by number of flat surfaces, plane surfaces, and number of flat surfaces is called as polyhedrons. And one more type is solids of revolution. Sphere, cylinder, and cone. These 3 are termed as solids of revolution. Why? Because if you revolve a semicircle for complete 360 degrees, if you revolve a semicircle for complete 360 degrees, you will get a sphere. If you revolve a rectangle for 360 degrees, you will get a cylinder. If you rotate a triangle for 360 degrees, you will get cone. So these 3 are called as solids of revolution. And coming to polyhedrons. So polyhedrons are generally prism, cube, or pyramid. These 3 regular objects. ఇవి కాకుండా మనకి అడిషనల్ గా వచ్చే ఛాన్సెస్ ఏంటంటే tetrahedron. Actually it is looking like a pyramid, a triangular pyramid, but actually this is not a pyramid, it is a tetrahedron. So tetrahedron కి ఎలా అంటే స్క్వేర్ ఎట్లా ఫామ్ అవుతుంది? Surrounded by 6 squares and all of them are equal shape and size. So it is called as a square. Similarly, when an object is formed by 4 equilateral triangles, then it is called as a tetrahedron. When an object is formed by 4 equilateral triangles, as the number of surfaces are 4 equal faces. Each is an equilateral triangle. It is called as tet means 4, tetrahedron. Similarly, cube is also called as hexahedron. It is formed by 6 equal faces. 6 faces, all are squares. In the same way, octahedron and decahedron. An examination point of view, no need of these 2. One syllabus lo levu. Just for an idea, I am showing this. Octahedron is surrounded by 8 equilateral triangles. Decahedron is 12 pentagons. 12 pentagons. Now coming to the terminology of prism. So prism ante meeku physics lab lo chesuntaru experimentation and you may have idea. So any solid surface with having 2 bases, and these 2 bases must be are of equal shape. Prism line concept ఏంటంటే it's having 2 bases. రెండింటిని కూడా బేస్ అని అంటాం. జస్ట్ ఫర్ మనం ఎక్స్ప్లెనేషన్ లో ఆ ప్రాబ్లమ్ సాల్వ్ చేసేటప్పుడు విల్ డిఫరెన్షియేట్ విత్ ద టాప్ బేస్ అండ్ బాటమ్ బేస్, బట్ రెండు కూడా బేస్ with 2 bases, and these 2 bases are joined with vertical edges. These 2 bases are joined with straight vertical edges. So depending on the shape of the base, it is termed as square prism. If the base is a square, it is a square prism. If the base is a triangle, it is a triangular prism. If the base is a pentagon, it is a pentagonal prism. If the base is a hexagon, it is a hexagonal prism. సో ఇందులో మనం గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన టెర్మినాలజీ ఏంటంటే axis is the imaginary line joining the center of base to the center of the top. Base center, top, the bottom center, top base రెండిటి centers ని కూడా join చేసే imaginary line is called as axis. And right prisms ఏంటంటే when the axis must be perpendicular to the base. Axis ni perpendicular to the base unte we'll call it as a right prism. Ellaithe polygon lo regular polygons ante all sides are of equal length and inclination, we'll call it them as regular polygons. Similarly, prisms lo kuda when the axis is perpendicular to the base, it is called as right regular prism. Regular means right regular prism. Right and the axis must be perpendicular to the base. Regular means base lo na polygon all sides must be of equal length and equal inclinations. Mana syllabus point of view, we are having only right regular prism and maximum manaku vachevi these four shapes: triangular prism, square prism, pentagonal prism and hexagonal prism. So ఇందులో గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన టెర్మినాలజీ టాప్ బేస్, బాటమ్ బేస్, and these four are the surfaces which are joining the top base and bottom base are called as faces. Face, base. Base is this top base. It changes its shapes depending on the shape of the prism. Triangular prism అయితే triangle shape ఉంటుంది, square కి అయితే square ఉంటుంది, pentagonal prism అయితే pentagon ఉంటుంది. But these faces always in the shape of rectangle. A prism అనండి. All these faces are in the shape of rectangles, rectangular faces, and the line joining top base to bottom base, these are called as straight edges. These are called as straight edges. The edges joining the lines joining top corner to bottom corner or top base to bottom corner, bottom base is called as straight edges. అలాగే ఇక్కడ కూడా ఎడ్జెస్ ఉన్నాయి. దీస్ ఎడ్జెస్ ఆర్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ బేస్ ఎడ్జ్. సో ఎందుకు ఇంత స్ట్రెస్ చేస్తున్నానంటే ప్రాబ్లంలో మనకి ఫిగర్ ఇవ్వరు, దే విల్ డిస్క్రైబ్ ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ ద టెర్మినాలజీ. సో మీకు అక్కడ బేస్ ఎడ్జ్ అన్నారా, స్ట్రైట్ ఎడ్జ్ అన్నారా, సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఐడెంటిఫై బేస్ ఎడ్జ్ అంటే ఎక్కడ ఉంటుంది. సో మీకు చదవంగానే యూ హ్యావ్ టు ఇమాజిన్ దట్ షేప్ అండ్ ఇట్స్ పొజిషన్ in space. So adi guttundalante you should remember this terminology. Alage pyramids aithe kanaka pyramids are only one base and all the corners of the base are joined towards apex. Depending on the shape of the base, we'll call them as triangular pyramid, square pyramid, pentagonal pyramid, hexagonal pyramid and so on. If you observe, the lines joining corner of the base to the apex are inclined. So these are called as slant edges. Here we will call them as slant edges. Prisms like that, we are terming it as straight edges. And pyramids will have the faces. All these faces are in the shape of triangle. So these are called as triangular faces. Pyramids will call them as triangular face, and in pyramids will have rectangular face. So we should show this difference. Cylinder ki it doesn't have any slant edge or straight edge. Straight edge slant edge undadu, but మన కనపడే viewing direction base చేసుకుని we will highlight this outermost line, and this outermost line we'll call it as generator. ఎందుకంటే the cylinder or cone, these are formed by rotating a plane surface for 360 degrees. Is it? So rotate చేస్తున్నాం అంటే we are generating the cylinder by rotating a straight line for 360 degrees. So this outermost line is termed as generator. Actually the imaginary, ఎందుకంటే if you observe cylinder, do you find any edge? Is vertical surface మీద edge చూడగలమా? No. It is continuous smooth surface, complete 360 degrees. ఎక్కడ కూడా బ్రేక్ ఉండదు. సో బట్ ఏంటంటే మనం వ్యూయింగ్ డైరెక్షన్ కి బేస్ చేసుకుని outer most lines ni we will highlight. Similarly for cone, we'll term this as generators. And sphere, we don't have problems on sphere, so you can neglect this. Next, coming to the two more shapes. Actually, these are nothing but the second part of the third unit. Frustum of a cone, frustum or truncated solids. Frustum or truncated solids. Frustums ఏంటంటే ఆల్రెడీ ఇందా మీకు ప్రీవియస్ చూపించాం, prisms and pyramid. Prisms ni if you cut by any plane surface perpendicular to the axis, ఒక ప్లేన్ సర్ఫేస్ పర్పెండిక్యులర్ టు యాక్సిస్ కట్ చేసాం అనుకోండి, ఏమవుతుంది? ఓన్లీ యాక్సిస్ లెంగ్త్ చేంజ్ అవుతుంది కానీ హైట్ చేంజ్ అవుతుంది, బట్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ ద ఫైనల్ అపిరియన్స్ ఆర్ షేప్ రిమైన్స్ ద సేమ్. అవునా కదా? ఒక ప్లేన్ సర్ఫేస్ తీసుకుని ఈ ప్రిజమ్స్ మధ్యలోకి ఎక్కడికి వచ్చేది కట్ చేయండి, ఏమవుతుంది? ఓవరాల్ షేప్లో వేరియేషన్ రాదు, ఓన్లీ వేరియేషన్ మ్యాక్సిమం మనకు వచ్చేది ఏంటంటే ఓన్లీ ద height of the axis vary అవుతుంది. But if you cut the pyramids ని ఒక ప్లేన్ సర్ఫేస్ ని యాక్సిస్ కి పర్పెండిక్యులర్ గా కట్ చేసి పై పార్ట్ రిమూవ్ చేసాం, ఇనిషియల్ షేప్ ఫైనల్ షేప్ ఒకటే అవుతుందా? నో. విల్ గెట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్ లైక్ దిస్ షేప్. పిరమిడ్ ని కానీ కోన్ ని కానీ if you cut it by a plane surface perpendicular to the object and remove the upper part, we'll get a objects like this. These shapes are called as frustum of a pyramid or a frustum of a cone. Truncated ki frustum ki variation ఏంటంటే మనం కట్ చేసే ప్లేన్ సర్ఫేస్ యాక్సిస్ కి పర్పెండిక్యులర్ గా ఉంటే విల్ కాల్ ఇట్ యాజ్ ఫ్రస్టమ్. అలా కాకుండా మనం కట్ చేసే సర్ఫేస్ ఇంక్లైన్ టు ద యాక్సిస్ ఉంటే విల్ కాల్ దెమ్ యాజ్ truncated. Cutting plane inclined to the axis unte truncated antamu, parallel to the axis unte frustum of a mana sections of solids lo we are going to draw projections for these types of solids. So solid draw cheyalante first complete projection draw cheyali, alage cutting plane kuda draw cheyali. Ante we have to overlap projections of solids and projections of plane on a single problem. Now coming to syllabus point of view, as in planes and lines, we don't have when the position is inclined to both the reference planes. When the solid is inclined to both the reference planes. Actually, these are the different positions possible. So first step ఏంటంటే axis perpendicular to HP, axis perpendicular to VP. Means with the axis perpendicular to one of the reference plane. Second one, axis parallel to both HP and VP. Axis parallel to both HP and VP. So first simple cases. And next, when the axis is inclined to one reference plane and the axis is parallel to the other reference plane. Means inclined to HP, parallel to VP, or inclined to VP and parallel to HP. And one more is when the axis inclined to both HP and VP. But in our syllabus, we don't have this fourth model, we are having only this. Before going there, let us show two or three simple examples how an object look like. There is a condition when a triangular prism, can any one of you specify its position based on the axis? Based on the axis, its position చెప్పగలరా? Axis of the prism ఎలా ఉంది? Axis means imaginary line joining center of the base to center of the top. Top center ni base, bottom center ni join చేసి imaginary line. So ఇక్కడ axis is perpendicular to the ground and parallel to vertical plane. So ఇట్లా చూసినప్పుడు if you see the front view, you can see only one face. We can see only the face ACFD. ACFD మాత్రమే విజిబుల్ అవుతుంది. ఈ ఫేస్ ఏమవుతుందంటే ఎగ్జాక్ట్ వ్యూయింగ్ డైరెక్షన్ కి పర్పెండిక్యులర్ గా ఉంది కాబట్టి పాయింట్స్ B and E are hiding. This is one more way of representing the hidden points. Observe చేయండి, point B and E are represented inside the solid object కి inside లో represent చేశారు, means B and E are hiding అని. మనం ఏం చేస్తామంటే బ్రాకెట్స్ లో డ్రా చేస్తాం క్లారిటీ పర్పస్. So top view చూడండి, when you see the top view of this prism, we can see only ABC, top base, only top base points you can see. Bottom base DEF are hiding. So exact top చేసినప్పుడు we can see only one base, that is the top base. So ABC are visible, DEF are hiding. So DEF are represented inside the object, means those are hiding. Similarly for a pyramid చూడండి, when the axis is perpendicular to the horizontal plane and parallel to vertical plane. టాప్ వ్యూ చూసినప్పుడు పిరమిడ్ ని కనుక ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ టాప్ లో చూస్తే we can see these 5 triangular faces. As it is a pentagon, it will have 5 triangular faces. పైన చూసినప్పుడు 5 triangular faces కనపడతాయి. బట్ ప్రిజమ్ ని చూస్తే we can see only the plane surface, మధ్యలో ఎటువంటి లైన్స్ ఉండవు. బట్ if it is a pyramid, top view outer most lines ఏ కాకుండా ఈ 5 triangles గా రిప్రజెంట్ చేయాలి. And when you see it in front view, you can see these 2 triangles. So in ఈ particular problem కి front view చూస్తే we can see these 2, ABO BCO. So ABO BCO 2 triangles ఏ కనపడతాయి. And remaining faces are hiding. Remaining faces or remaining sides are hiding. So represent them with dashed line. Like if you see in this direction, side which you say, we can see EOA triangle and AOB triangle. EOA triangle, AOB triangle. Only these 2 triangles are visible and remaining all other edges are hiding. For cylinder and a cone. Cylinder top view or cone ni padi chusna kuda simple circle hai, but when you see the cylinder exactly in front view, just you can see it as a rectangle. Only the outermost lines, the outermost shape we can see is only the rectangular shape, and for a cone you can see the triangular shape. So let me explain this concept with this duster. So what is the shape of the duster? Even మీరు ఎగ్జామినేషన్ అయినా కానీ మీ దగ్గర ఎరేజర్ ఉండొచ్చు, ఆర్ ఎనీ జామెట్రీ బాక్స్ ఆర్ పౌచెస్ గర్ల్స్ అయితే కనుక, ఆర్ ఎనీ లార్జర్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఏదైనా సరే మీరు అస్యూమ్ చేసుకుని వీ కెన్ అస్యూమ్ ఇట్స్ పొజిషన్. సపోజ్ when the axis is perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP, this is the condition. Along the axis, axis is the line joining to the top base and the bottom base. So how the axis line? The axis is parallel to the horizontal plane, sorry, perpendicular to the HP and parallel to vertical plane, and parallel to vertical plane. And this is a condition. When the object is, when the prism is in such a way that axis perpendicular to VP, axis line is perpendicular to VP and parallel to the ground. Axis means the line joining the 2 centers. Axis is parallel to HP and perpendicular to the VP. So ఈ two conditions లోనూ కూడా observe చేయండి, when the object is in this position, in which view you can see the true shape of the base. True shape of the base ఏ view లో కనిపిస్తుంది? Roll number 30. Wait. Let me stop the presentation. Okay. In which you can see the true shape? Top view. When the object is perpendicular to the ground, when the axis is perpendicular to the ground, we can see the true shape of the base in top view. Why? Because the faces are not important. ఎందుకంటే ఏ prism అన్నా సరే, all these faces are in the rectangle shape. So faces is not the important. Here the important is the base. Why? Because the entire shape of the object is based on shape of the base. So first we'll start the problem with a view in which you can see the true shape of the base. So this is in top you can see the true shape. Similarly, when the axis is perpendicular to vertical plane, in which we can see the base? When the object is
front view.
Front view, yes. In front view, you can see the true shape of the base. Similarly, when the axis is parallel to both the reference planes, here we have true shape and the base. When the axis is parallel to both the reference planes, in which view?
Side view.
Side view. Side view, you can see the true shape. So, మనం planes and lines draw చేసినప్పుడు, when theta plus phi equal to 98 degrees, we are going for the side view. Side view నుంచి problem start చేసాం. Similarly, in solids లో ఏం చేస్తామంటే, when the axis is parallel to both the reference planes, we'll start the problem with side view. So solids of side view problem when the axis is parallel to both the reference planes. So ఇక్కడ మనం చెక్ చేసుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే ప్రాబ్లం ఇవ్వగానే what is the position of the axis and in which view you can see the true shape of the base. ఇది assume చేసుకుని problem start చేయాలి. For this class I am not explaining any problem, just concept explain చేశాను. Next class we'll start the problems. Okay, I am stopping here and continue it in the next class. So don't leave, let me take the attendance.